So Donald Trump was at the Family Leadership Summit in Iowa over the weekend, if I believe, right? Or was it the end of last week?
It was the end of last week.
And Frank Luntz, the ethically and follically challenged pollster, raconteur, I guess he's back into politics. He had dropped out for a while.
It was sad.
What was that story? He was like eating like...
Yeah, he was just eating like pounds of Haagen-Dazs. That's not important.
Bolognese. Sorry.
So he was eating lots of spaghetti bolognese. Asked Donald Trump a question about John McCain, and Donald Trump had this to say.
But referring to people as rapists, referring to John McCain, a war hero, 5.5 years as a POW, and you call him a dummy. Is that appropriate in running for president?
Okay, you got to let me speak, though, Frank, because you interrupt all the time, okay? So, no, I know him too well. That's the problem. Let's take John McCain. I'm in Phoenix. We have a meeting that is going to have 500 people at the Biltmore Hotel. We get a call from the hotel. It's turmoil. Thousands and thousands of people are showing up. 3-4 days before, they're pitching tents on the hotel grass. The hotel says, we can't handle it. It's going to destroy the hotel. We move it to the convention center. We have 15,000 people. The biggest one ever. Bigger than Bernie Sanders, bigger than 15,000 people showed up to hear me speak. Bigger than anybody. And everybody knows it. A beautiful day with incredible people that were wonderful, great Americans, I will tell you. John McCain, oh boy, Trump makes my life difficult. He had 15,000 crazies show up. Crazies. He called them all crazy. I said, they weren't crazy. They were great Americans. These people, if you would have seen these people, I know what a crazy is. I know all about crazies. These weren't crazy. So he insulted me, and he insulted everybody in that room. And I said, somebody should run against John McCain, who has been, in my opinion, not so hot. And I supported him. I supported him for president. I raised $1 million for him. It's a lot of money. I supported him. He lost. He let us down. But, he lost. So I never liked him as much after that, because I don't like losers. But Frank, let me get to it. He hit me. He's not a war hero.
He's a war hero.
He's a war hero.
5.5 years.
He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured, okay? I hate to tell you.
Do you agree with that?
He's a war hero because he was captured, okay? You can have, and I believe perhaps he's a war hero, but right now he said some very bad things about a lot of people. So what I said is, John McCain, I disagree with him that these people aren't crazy. And, very importantly, and I speak the truth, he graduated last in his class at Annapolis. So I said, nobody knows that. I said he graduated last or second to last. He graduated last in his class at Annapolis. And he was upset. I said, why, for telling the truth? See, you're not supposed to say that somebody graduated last or second to last in their class, because you're supposed to be, like Frank says, very nice. Folks, I want to make America great again. We want to get down to brass tacks. We don't want to listen to his stuff with being politically correct and everything has...
All right, so there it is. Donald Trump basically saying the only reason why John McCain is a war hero is because he was a POW. Now, there's no way to know if John McCain hadn't been a POW, whether or not he'd be considered a war hero. Right? I mean, I don't know. Nobody knows. But the Republican Party wanted to make this the worst thing that Donald Trump could ever say. Yeah, maybe he should tone it down just a little bit about the whole thing with Mexicans being rapists, blah, blah, blah. But to say that John McCain would not be a war hero but for the fact that he was imprisoned as a POW, that's the worst thing ever. Because they need to figure out how can they discredit Donald Trump to the Republican base that loves him. And I got news for you, folks. I'm going to try and do this in my best Donald Trump. I'm going to channel the spirit of him. That's not going to work. Because they're all losers. And Donald Trump speaks to the heart of the Republican Party. And that's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. And so the only thing that the Republicans can do at this point is to say it was so offensive what Donald Trump said that we have to bar him from the debates. But I got news for you, folks. That's not going to work. It's not going to work. The Republican Party deserves to have Donald Trump on that stage expressing real Republican values. And I'm going to say this right now. I am not a Republican voter, but I am going to make an endorsement in the Republican primary right now. Just to be fair. Just to be fair, because I did this. I expressed my support for Bernie Sanders. I think it's only fair for me to show that I'm not biased in any way. I'm going to do the same thing for the Republicans, Donald Trump. There's no Republican out there who expresses Republican values better than Donald Trump. Okay? One, he talks tough. That's what we need. More tough talk. From a Republican perspective. From a Republican perspective, I just want to be clear, what do you want out of a president? You want one who's going to mamby-pamby around? No, this guy's going to talk tough. Two, he can make a deal, right? He can make a deal. The Chinese right now are shivering in their boots from a Republican perspective. They're shivering in their boots because they're saying like, oh my God, if Donald Trump becomes president, he's going to drive a tough bargain with us.
The Russians are like, we must be careful in Crimea if the apprentice
Because
man becomes president. He's
From a
strong.
Republican perspective.
From a Republican perspective, understand what makes a great president. Tough talk. Nobody talks tougher than Trump. Nobody. Do you think that the Supreme the mullahs are excited about the fact that Donald Trump, who's willing to say that John McCain was only a hero because he was a POW, they're shaking in their boots right now because this guy could come around. He talks tough. He's not going to be namby-pamby.
Tough talk is ISIS's kryptonite.
Oh my God.
I prefer mullahs that don't cut nuclear deals. In my opinion, yeah,
That's
just
right.
saying.
There you go.
I prefer the Ayatollah Hamidi, okay? That guy had balls.
If I was a Republican and wanted to vote Republican values, I would overlook the fact that Donald Trump does not want to cut Social Security, and I would overlook the fact that he thought the Iraq war was a bad idea because he speaks tough. He makes great deals. He's the CEO president. There you go. So that's my endorsement. Take it for what it was. But I will just say that as an observer of this for years, nobody embodies Republican values more than Donald Trump. Okay?
And by the way, that whole like, oh, that isn't right, what he said. He shouldn't be on the debates. That's so loserish. Like, if they go with that strategy, that sounds like such a loser strategy to me. Could you imagine? Like, he said bad things. He shouldn't debate.
Well, here's the RNC.
That's a loser
Here's the
strategy.
RNC saying there's no room in our country for anyone who criticizes veterans.
Oh my God.
I will remind you, I was alive in 2004.
Even I was.
I was an adult. Yes, even Matt was alive. I will remind you that at the 2004 Republican National Convention, there was thousands of people wearing Band-Aids on their face and on their arms with a little purple heart to mock John Kerry. Now, the whole hypocrisy thing, I find that to be child's play. But the reality is that the RNC would say something like that is laughable. I remember Max Cleland, Tammy Duckworth. Just absurd. Just absurd. Go check out those campaigns if you want to know about criticizing veterans. That's just, and you know what? Veterans can be criticized. They're people too. And I just got an IM. I don't know if anybody saw the Republican debates in 2012, but when a veteran was talking about don't ask, don't tell, I seem to remember he got booed. So the RNC, I don't know if they're trying to figure out some way of like, not only is there no room in this country for anybody who criticizes veterans, but there's no room on the debate stage. Or perhaps maybe maybe Rick Perry will come out and say, I refuse to be part of the debate unless Donald Trump, but I got news for you. Fox will be between a rock and a hard place because there's no one. If there are 2 people out of the other 15 candidates who are willing to debate Donald Trump, and that's what the debate ends up being, then that's what the debate will be. Because people are going to tune in to watch Donald Trump.
He's in that debate, it becomes an unmissable event.
And you know what? And here's a quote from Donald Trump the day after the debate. You ready? I guarantee you these words will be said. I'm not going to be exact, paraphrasing in the future. The reason why that debate did so well in the ratings is because I was there. Said by Donald Trump on August 7th.
And that will be the most accurate thing that he said the whole cycle. That will be true.
He's going to say that debate got higher ratings than any other debate in the history of Republican primaries, and it was because I was in there. And it's going to be the same thing with the CNN one. And he'll be the first one to say that. In fact, they'll probably get the overnights. He'll say that 30 seconds after he walks off the debate. That was the best debate the Republicans have had. It was because I was there.